mother
What did you do to me?
knows best. Dolly.
Dude, what's up? Welcome back to Beyond the Gray Media. Josh here, checking in on you on a Monday out there in YouTube. Are we talking about The Hills Run Red? No. Are we talking about the 74 seminal classic, the Texas Chain Saw Massacre? Look at this VHS slip. This media slip is like my favorite of all time. Are we talking about Damien Leone's Terrifier? No. We're talking about a brand new film, 2026 IFC Shudder original, that's proving to be a little bit divisive. Okay, this movie just released last Friday. Of course, it's been out, so people have reviewed it. It's called Dolly, and it is streaming everywhere on Prime and Shudder. And divisive, yeah, man. Even for me. Let me set this up. I wanted to make this review super positive. That was my thought. It was like, I'm going to go into this, man, and I'm going to say all the reasons why this is a great movie, why I love it, why blah, 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 and I'm going to keep a positive spin on it. Even though when I was taking notes on it after the movie, my notes weren't positive. Is that possible where you can kind of like, you know, obviously two things can be true at the same time and you can be a little bit conflicted, and that's kind of what happened to me with Dolly. I think as a horror fan, as someone who just consumes a lot of, you know, gross gore, and I'm not trying to gatekeep gore for people. If you're a fan of Terrifier, you're probably gonna like this movie. Okay. If you're a fan of other gory movies, like even like X, maybe, you'll probably like this movie. This movie is really made for slasher fans, and I think that's where, as I've gotten older, I've really kind of struggled to make my bones. I don't know if I'm really a slasher fan like other people are. You give me a mask and a knife or some sort of sharp wielding tool and a bunch of teens and kill them. I don't know if that's for me necessarily. If they've been baked in or grandfathered in, or I've seen them when I was younger, I usually like them. Especially movies with cropsy like The Burning. Obviously there's Friday the 13th. I'm a huge fan of, I fucking adore that series. And I love Texas Chain Saw, but I don't know if, is Texas Chainsaw really a slasher? I mean, because he's wearing a mask, did they create, because I'm not a Halloween fan. Not at all. You guys know this. And I can't stand Scream. And I don't like I Know What You Did Last Summer. I don't like really any of the masked killer movies. I don't really like a mask. Kind of hate them, actually. I mean, I hate to say that, man. So that's all just to say that Dolly is a pretty good movie. Should I just give you my review right now? Sure. Gun to my head, I'll watch this movie again. Probably in the summertime when it's really, really hot. With a cold bottle of suds, I think that this might be better on a rewatch, because when a movie has so much hype and praise from horror fans coming out of Fantastic Effects, that it's just going to be like the next coming slasher, the next biggest, best thing, man. The goriest, most nasty. Oh man, it's gonna blow your mind. It didn't do that for me. So my rating, I'm probably going to say 6 out of 10, which is ironically about the same score that I gave Whistle, which I watched before it. Here's an interesting take. Here's where I'm a problem, right? I'm jammed up here thinking about it. I watched Whistle because I seen somewhere, I was like reading different reviews on things that were coming out, and I was looking at the different movies from Fantastic Fest and blah, blah, blah. And the idea of Whistle sounded kind of intriguing to me, and my wife watched the trailer because I was thinking about watching it. She's like, that looks scary, I don't want to watch that. So I was like, done. Let's watch this. It was a Sunday afternoon, right? I thought cheap thrills, man. Maybe there's some cool kills. I hate usually kind of teen movies like this, but I do love a gimmick. And somebody said it was going to be kind of like Talk to Me, you know, meets Smile. I don't know, we're supposed to be talking about Dolly, but I thought that Whistle, for that spiral scene at the carnival, made the whole movie. It's cheap, it's hokey. I think it's trying to be a little bit too aware of itself, I'll say. And I'd say that's a 6 out of 10, but I think that the idea and some of the kills were at least interesting enough. I thought that the character is hollow, dumb movie, right? Cheap fun, kind of like Hellfest. And then I watched Dolly after this, and I thought that Dolly was going to be the thing that kind of brought me back to the promised land, because I was just middle on Whistle. I was like, Dolly's going to hit hard. This is going to be a gory, nasty Texas Chain Saw Massacre inspired film. And that's not really what I got with Dolly. Let's talk about it, okay? First of all, problems that I have with this movie is it's tied through chapters. So it starts, and you got chapter 1. We're introduced to this person, he, she, they're a big person. They're a really, really big person, okay? We're introduced to Mother, and right away, you're going to start feeling like something that's been done before, a la the Texas Chain Saw Massacre, but what the hell, let's throw Seann William Scott in there, and that'll be cool, right? Our little backstory involves a couple who take off for a weekend of fun and sun, and knowing how horror tropes go, it's best that they, just kind of stick to the fucking trail, right? And they kind of even bring that up in this movie. As they hike, the more time they spend in the woods, this behemoth comes out of the fucking brush, and they start bringing these dolls out to the forest. I'm not freaked out by dolls. Maybe if you are, this is going to be a really, really creepy movie. I thought that was interesting, right? We're going to line the forest with these dolls. We don't know why. Never really tells us why. Not a problem. Let's keep going. We're in chapter 1, right? Chapter 2 is called Daughter, and you see eventually what these males hikers, they kind of blaze this trail. They kind of, our lead character hopes to propose to his girlfriend. They've got a kid, and he's up at the top of this trail, and he's going to kind of like build up some courage, I guess, and he's going to bring out this ring. And on the way, he finds these dolls, and he's attacked by this creature, this massive thing, right? And this doll-faced killer has an insatiable love for flesh, especially also, that involve shovels and teeth and jawbones. Whoever the fuck they are, they can be a little light in the loafers, and they may also practice BDSM. No shame if you're in the game. Choking and strangulation seem to be also a prerequisite. I've since learned that the character that's playing this is a female, and she's a wrestler, so I'm sorry, I'm not just trying to talk shit. Do not come after me. Then we move on to chapter 3 in this film, and it quickly brings us back to home, where our lead character is abducted by Mother, brought back to this beautiful scene in a kind of decaying dollhouse, if you will. Pretty cool exterior shot as we go in, and then we get to kind of explore the house in absolute fear. We kind of wake up in this cradle with our character. She's not sure where she's at, and it's going to feel like Barbarian in that sense. I don't know if I'd say it's done better than Barbarian, unfortunately. And actually, I should say before we get into chapter 4, this feels kind of like, definitely it helps that it was shot on 16 millimeter, and it definitely helps that it was hot in Tennessee or wherever they shot this. I believe it was in Tennessee. It does have this kind of subversive, chaotic, frenetic energy that's kind of pulsating throughout the whole opening. It's chock full of that 70s film grain, grindhouse style that I really, really liked. Actually, I really liked the first 20 minutes of this film. Let me just be clear. It opens with the bedroom scene, and a large person and this mother is kind of like rocking back and forth as they stitch together something for the wall. That's, just creepy doll heads, and they kind of line the shelves, and never mind the flies or the decomposing body in her bed. We're going to have some questions. That's the opening of this film. That's probably the strongest. I'm all over the place. I'm not going to go through every single chapter, because I think the chapters are actually, they kind of hamstring this movie, because it makes it to where like, oh, now we have to like live out what the chapter says. Like, we're going to have to spell this out. This is a short fucking movie also. This is only like 85 minutes maybe. I'm not going to lie to you. I nodded off at like the 30-minute mark. That's usually not the sign of a great slasher movie for me personally, because before that we had Seann William Scott, we had things. Ethan Suplee's in this movie, or is it Ethan Suplee? I'm not sure. Suplee sounds like he's going to get suplexed by Mother in this film, but yeah, it's kind of boring in the middle. For me personally. Now, there's a feeding scene, there's a diaper scene, there's kind of like a changing scene, and ultimately it's just Mother. She wants to kind of take on this, this child that she either can't have or won't have, or wants to live vicariously through her dolls, whatever the hell it is. She's going to go ahead and make sure that they're fed. They're going to pull out a half problems arrive. And so I thought that maybe people will think that's super disturbing and that's super unnerving. Not really. It's just there's some weird nudity in this movie. There's some weird things that are in the hallways and in the different parts of the house because we're exploring it. Barbarian did that better. No, I just feel like for a slasher movie, this movie's kind of hollow and kind of boring, and there's no backstory. And let me just explain really quick. I had a similar feeling when I watched In a Violent Nature. But one thing I knew about In a Violent Nature was this was a movie that's going to try something fucking different, and it was going to go for it, man. And part of the aesthetic was the leaves and the crunching and being outside and that overhead point of view, right? We're watching this video game, and he was going to kill everybody in the most nasty, vicious fashion possible, and I fucking loved that. I didn't really love that movie, though, until I watched it twice, and I was like, oh, this is my shit right here. This is exactly what I love. This movie, it's just kind of a drag, man, because it does not explain who the Dolly character is. And I know they're setting it up, spoiler, to have a part 2, but I just felt like it's just this one character that's kind of captive, and she's like going from room to room, and she makes some stupid fucking decisions towards the end of the movie, and Dolly's going around and she butchers a couple of people, but there's really not that many characters, so her kills are just like padded by the run. It doesn't justify it for me, so I was bummed out about that. I think I'm going to stay 6 out of 10 with upside. This might move up to a 7 out of 10 on a rewatch. The music is pretty good, but I feel like I don't know if this movie justified itself, because I think it wants to be this gory original 70s kind of like new American slasher and bringing back the fucking gore in the grindhouse era, but it didn't do any of that for me. It just had like one cool kill and then some other medium cool kills. The gore, it looks practical. That's cool. There's one that kind of comes back around, if you know what I'm talking about. There's a little fella there hanging on by his jaw. I feel like Terrifier does that way better. And actually, this movie fucking rocks. This babyface is the kind of doll that I'm into. Thanks for being here.